Are you planning a cruise for 2021? We're going to be going through all of the changes that are coming to cruising, both the ones that are temporary and those that will be sticking around. Plus, there's one that is a pretty awesome change that I think that you'll actually like. Hi there, I'm Ilana from the website and blog lifewellcruise.com, and today I'm going to be talking about when cruises do start up again, what are the changes, the big changes that we are going to see. Now, of course, we have heard over the last few months of some predicted changes as well as some confirmed changes, but now we really are getting a good idea of what changes will be happening, but not all of them are going to be here to stay. So we're going to be going through the changes that are likely to be permanent, to really make a change to become that new normal of cruising, as well as the changes that are probably going to be temporary and go by the wayside. So before I get started, I did want to mention that if you like this video, if you find it informational, or if you enjoy it in any way, then please do give it a thumbs up. I really do appreciate it. And as well, please consider subscribing to the channel. So let's get started and I will give you that information. So let's get those changes out of the way that are probably going to be temporary. The first thing is social distancing. Now, of course, social distancing is something that we are all experiencing right now, but this will not be here to stay. Now, part of that social distancing will include cruise lines actually reducing the passenger capacity. So they won't be sailing with full ships. They have been saying perhaps it'll be 50%, 60%. It's hard to know. They haven't announced the specifics of it. But we do know that that is not going to last forever. That might actually even be a bit of a nice thing to have less people on a ship, but that is not going to last. Let's face it, cruise lines just rely on a business model where they sail full and people take excursions, they buy drinks, they spend money on spas, all of those things, and they really do need to sail full again. So I think that this will stay around up until it really is overall an environment where things are much safer and back to normal. But soon after that, it is going to be back up to those regular passenger capacities, and at the same time, social distancing will be gone as well. The second change that we're going to see has to do with cruise ports and what we're going to do in the cruise ports. So when they do start up sailing again, then we have been told already that the cruise ports, well, there just might be changes to them. Of course, they have to sail where it is as safe as possible. They also have to sail where they have agreements and protocols that the cruise ports, those destinations are able to follow. So that might mean visiting more private destinations. That might mean having a sailing where we have less cruise ports. We don't know the details yet, but that is going to be something that is not going to last forever. The cruise ports want cruise lines to come back as soon as it's safe. As well, when we get into the cruise ports, it may mean at the very beginning that we are really going to be encouraged to take cruise line excursions. So that is something that we're going to see at the beginning and will likely, well, go away once things get back to normal. Third thing that's going to change is at the very beginning, likely we are going to have to wear masks. Now, this might change because perhaps it won't be the protocol, the norm on land at the time. But if we were sailing now, that would be the norm. And when we look at cruises that are actually sailing in Europe, that is what is required. And of course, it's not all the time. It wouldn't be during times of eating, or it wouldn't be in times where you could maintain a distance of over 6 feet or in outdoor areas, but it really is the protocol otherwise on the ship. So we can expect that as well. And of course, that's something that's not going to be here forever. Number 4, when we get back to cruising again, it's likely that when we go to dining, that we are going to have to stay with some form of reserved or set dining so that they can prepare for people, and as well that we are going to have to eat with our own party. Now, of course, we know on cruises that one of the nice things to do is to socialize and to talk to other people, and some people really enjoy sharing a table with other people in the evening. But for the beginning, this is really likely the way they're going to do this, because this is how they'll maintain that sense of social distancing. But of course, this is not going to last forever. So now I'm going to go through some things that are likely going to be permanent. And I think some of them are actually really, really good things. So I think these are going to be the positive things that come out of it. And by the way, at the end, I'm also going to go through a couple things that I'm actually on the fence about, and I'd love to hear your opinion on this. Number 5, if you've been wondering how are the cruise lines going to take care of the muster drill, what are they going to be doing because we're all packed together, there is something completely new. Royal Caribbean just came out with something called Muster 2.0, which is basically a tech version of the muster drill. So you'll still have all of the safety information. All of that is going to be available either on your smartphone or your mobile device or on your stateroom TV. And you can go through all of those procedures right there. And then you'll be heading to your muster station, to your meeting place, where you'll meet a crew member who'll make sure that you understand everything and go through everything with you. Now, the interesting thing about this is that even though this is Royal Caribbean and obviously the other ships owned by the Royal Caribbean group, including Celebrity and Azamara, they have actually said that even though they have a patent on this, that they are offering this technology up to any cruise line that is interested, and it will be offered up, and they are waiving the licensing fee for it, which is fabulous. So already Norwegian Cruise Line Holdings, so all of the Norwegian Cruise Line ships have taken them up on their offer. We don't know about the other cruise lines yet, but I think that this is something that they'll definitely either be doing with this Royal Caribbean technology, or perhaps they've been working on their own. We don't know that yet, but the days of the old muster drill, I think, are finally gone. Number 6, of course, we know that cruise ships are going to be cleaning even more, they're disinfecting even more, but they're actually using new technologies. And this is something now that they're investing in these new technologies to keep everything cleaner, disinfected, sanitized. They're not going backwards. This is something that is going to stay on the cruise ship. So this is actually phenomenal news for cruising going forward. Number 7, we have all become hyper vigilant, of course, with cleanliness and sanitizing our hands and washing our hands. So cruise ship is going to be no different. They are going to, of course, have hand sanitizers everywhere, hand washing stations as well. But this is not something that's going to be going away. I think this is just something that's now in our lifestyle. And if there's anything good that came out of this, it is going to be that we're really going to care about hygiene, and that is probably going to change our way of thinking and doing things. Number 8. The air filtration systems on cruise ships in the past, what they used to do is use a combination of fresh air and recycled air or old air, and they kind of combine them together. And I think it was about 50% of each in certain areas of the ship. So now the cruise lines are going to be moving to new air filtration systems. Now, in some cases, for instance, Norwegian Cruise Line and Virgin, they have announced completely new technologies. In the case of Norwegian, they explained that they will have H13 HEPA filters on their cruise ships, and these are going to remove 99.5% of the pathogens in the air, so the bacteria and all of that stuff. So I am all for that. Other cruise lines have said at the very least they're going to be going for a system that is 100% fresh air. So I'm actually pretty anxious to hear from all of the cruise lines to hear what they are going to do, but we are going to have cleaner, fresher air, and that is a good thing. Now, these are some things that I'm a little on the fence about. They're definitely changes that are coming to cruising, but whether or not they're going to be here to stay or not, I'm actually not sure. So the self-serve buffet, we've all heard it, that is going away. But the buffet is still staying here, so not to worry. People love the buffet. People like casual dining. And of course, we all have choices, but there's going to be the full serve buffet. So in other words, crew is going to be serving people on a cruise ship. And I don't think that's a bad thing at all. Whether that will stay all the time, I'm not sure. I do have a little story to tell you that I just think illustrates how this can be used really effectively. My parents were actually on a cruise several months ago, and there was a norovirus outbreak on the cruise itinerary just before there. So they got on and they were informed of this, and they were told, of course, we're going to be hand sanitizing more, doing all of those things. And as well, they went to a full serve buffet. So my parents actually did really appreciate this. And they said they never felt sick the entire time. On the most part, people were really staying healthy. So my parents really appreciated this. But my mom did say she missed picking her own fruits. I know it sounds a little bit funny, but she said when you go to get a fruit, you like to pick your own banana, you like to pick your own orange. So she kind of missed that, but I do think that that will probably stay, because let's face it, the other side of it, and this is what I told my mom, I always kind of cringed when I saw the fruit, because I always would think, oh gosh, who else maybe touched that apple before me? So I didn't always love the idea of getting fruits and you don't have a way to wash it before you eat it. So I think if they do keep things, utensils and everything behind the counters, where things can be kept clean, I do think that's actually a better thing. So I think they might stick with that, but maybe over time, the self-serve buffet will come back in some form or another. Number 10. Flexible cancellation policies. This is something we've also seen during the last few months, and it's continuing into the next few months. Basically, if somebody wants to cancel their cruise for whatever reason, on the most part, we have until 48 hours before the cruise to cancel and be able to get a credit for our cruise so we can just take it in the future. And this is really handy, especially if we think if somebody might not be feeling well before going on the cruise, and this way they can cancel and not be penalized. Now, will this continue? I'm not really sure. In the past, one of the problems with not having flexible cancellation policies was that if somebody wasn't feeling well, they probably would go on the cruise anyway, and maybe they'd even try to hide the fact that they weren't feeling well because they don't want to be quarantined on the ship. So this does give that chance that people will not actually go on the ship and be sick. So I think that something like this should stay, but whether it will or not, I'm just not sure. Now, please let me know what you think. Do you think that these changes are permanent? Do you think that they are temporary? And are there other changes to come, or maybe things that I missed that are very important? Now, please let me know in the comments below. Now, if you did like this video, again, please do give it a thumbs up. I really appreciate it. And of course, please consider subscribing to the channel. Now, if you do subscribe, don't forget to hit the notification bell so you can be notified every time we put out a video, which is usually about once a week. Now, thanks so much for watching, and happy future cruising.